Hey everybody, we're live and we're going to be doing our Q&A session as mentioned in the first part of the video. So we've got some core team members online here and some people who are chatting, and I'm going to start with the first question here. Jake from Utah asked about folding for EVGA bucks. First of all, what are EVGA bucks and how are they related to CureCoin? EVGA bucks are an incentive program introduced, I think, 8 years ago by the EVGA Folding team, and you can find EVGA's folding team on extremeoverclocking.com, and you can see their points out, but they're actually the leading team right now. EVGA, they reward you with EVGA bucks. Holders can earn up to $125 per year that they can use in the online store on EVGA to buy new equipment or upgrade their video cards. And one thing you can kind of see is that at the end of, or at the beginning of every month, there's a surge in EVGA team's output, and that usually indicates that EVGA team members are folding to get their bucks rewards, and then they typically go back to folding for their home team.
And one more point quickly on EVGA bucks is, can you earn both simultaneously? As it stands right now, in order to earn CureCoin, you have to be folding for team 224497, which is the CureCoin team, whereas to earn EVGA bucks, you have to bounce over to their team. So like Ivan said, some people do both in a month, some at the beginning until they get their full EVGA buck payout, and then back to CureCoin, but you do have to be on top of switching your team back and forth if you want to earn both.
Yep, it's one or the other.
And then we were also wondering, we wanted to pose the question, how do you determine hourly rate since everyone puts a different value on their own personal time? As you saw on Ivan's spreadsheet and also on the calculator that we threw together, the JavaScript one, there's an area for the amount of maintenance time you're going to spend on improving your system and making sure software is up to date and it's still folding and heat is dissipated properly and you're dusting components or whatever it may be. And so we assume that people are valuing their own time at around the price of, with the default values in the spreadsheet, the median salary for a systems administrator, which is right around 22 bucks per hour. Some people value their time differently. A lot of people enjoy building computers and maintaining them and installing software and managing them. And for those people, it may be seen as, you know, a fun hobby, and so they'd value their time at $0 because they're enjoying what they're doing. It's not work. But for other people who want the philanthropic benefits of folding but aren't interested in computers and computer hardware and maintenance, they would consider the time they spend to do that being time that they're not enjoying something else, so they would want to place a price tag on that. So we use just median systems administrator salary because that is the level of expertise a person would generally need in order to maintain and manage more complex systems like folding rigs.
Yeah, well put. I mean, I couldn't put it any better. So I've got another question here from Mike in Pennsylvania. And where can I find the team points per day, and what is the current team point per day output? And so as I showed you, here's the folding EVGA team's output. CureCoin has the same output on extremeoverclocking.com. You can also get the stats from Folding at Home's stats webpage, but it's not as nice as this. This really gives you a really nice indicator. You can go daily, hourly, weekly, monthly.
And the CureCoin folding pool also has the number we're using for internal calculations at the top.
Oh, that's a good point too. Yeah. Are you talking about?
It should be in the top in a banner. Yeah, pool folding at home rate 5.308 or 53.087. Yeah.
That's how many total points we're producing as of the last known statistic. And those change every day. Theoretically, the more points that are folded, the more competition there is for the set number of coins, which is actually, if we look at it, it's 7,488 coins per day that are released into the network.
We do have an internal graph too under the stats that shows what crypto bullion pools calculates on every single day. There is one of the drop downs on the stats menu there when you're logged in.
You have to log in to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to what you see on EVGA, just a basic chart of our points per day over time.
Yeah, very nice. I just don't want to log into it right now because I don't want to reveal my top secret username. Everybody knows anyway. All right, we got another question from Jake here. It said, the equipment price estimates, the CPU only instance initial cost seems high compared to what I can build. How did you arrive at that? And yeah, it is high because what I'm trying to accomplish with that stat is I'm trying to combine, and we're going to come down here into a dedicated iMac or PC instance with a quad CPU, and I know this is high. I got that from kind of trying to put together an average between an iMac and a system that you can build yourself. So if you look on overstock.com, or here's an Apple iMac for $1,800. You can buy an engineered solution from HP. This price has probably gone way down for this HP Pro 3500. But then you could build a similar system for probably under at Micro Center for under $680, depending on the case you select, the fans, the CPU, and the motherboard. But so it's a broad-ranging statistic. I think Josh, I think you had a question about AWS.
Yeah, there is some questions about AWS spot instances. One of the first questions was, how often do you experience a price-induced termination? That means when you're outbid on how much you're willing to pay per hour. Ivan's got a graph right here. As you can see, the cost of the spot instances changes quite a bit. It's usually best when you're buying a spot instance to, pick what amount you're willing to pay and try to go a little bit above what the average is, so that way you don't lose your spot instance. But of course, you don't want to bid too much because you could end up paying a lot more than you want to.
Yeah, you could be competing against a biotech who bids, $10 for an hour's worth of time. So if you want to overcome their $10, you're going to have to bid 11. So it's best just to deal with the price-induced terminations in other ways.
Yep, on instances like these, see, it looks like recent averages are between 30 and 40 cents per hour. In instances like those, I would probably normally bid anywhere between 5 to 10 cents extra per hour. And that usually keeps you pretty safe, depending on what kind of a calculation you're doing and how long it takes. Back in the days of the big advanced units that took a very long time to calculate one unit, it was a little more critical to bid a little bit higher to make sure you didn't lose your work. Now that has changed and the work units are a little bit smaller, those get finished a lot quicker. So the 5 to 10% or 5 cent to 10 cent above average, I think, is a pretty safe area for bidding. Would you agree on that, Max? Or do you think a little more, a little less?
I usually just go with adding an additional 5 or 10 cents over what I saw the highest spike in the last 3 or 4 days being. So in this data range, what I would do is I would choose either US East 1E or US East 1D, 1B or 1E, because those are the two that have stayed the flattest. And then I say, okay, the highest price on those has been, around the 45 cent mark. I'll go to 48 or 50 or something, set it there, and then hope that those zones are less likely to get outbid. Whereas if you buy something in 1D, you can see someone is using a lot of spot instances in 1D occasionally, and the price goes above 70 cents an hour.
Okay, so varying prices will assure you a more secure spot instance is kind of the basic gist of what we're getting at here. As far as how many price terminations I've seen, I didn't have too many problems with that in the past by bidding around 10 cents. I think I probably went a little bit over more than the 10 cents over the average quite a few times, especially during the big advanced days.
Yeah, I just flashed over to the graphic, the G2.2 X large instance, which you can tell that the prices there are significantly lower, but that doesn't mean that CPU jobs aren't worth less, because there's a lot of CPU-based jobs that are still outstanding that need to be processed from Panda Group.
Exactly.
I think they've actually talked about adding some additional bonuses for 2016 for CPU-based jobs, I believe, in their sort of 2015 summary is that they talked about, they hinted at giving some bonuses for CPU folders, although nothing concrete has been stated. So I had a question for you, Josh, on the CureCoin cloud folding and CureCoin cloud folding service, where you're actually doing the folding, your data center for that. Where's your customer base from on those jobs?
It's actually very interesting to see the customer base. The customers that rent the power from the GPUs of the cloud folding server that I have built here come from all over the world. It's been really interesting seeing the different locations. There is a amazingly small number of them that come from the U.S. My last customer is from Sweden. I get quite a few from Ukraine and Russia.
That's what's amazing about this activity, is that really it covers the entire globe. And I mean, I've got this, I'm going to divert from the question just to go back to the spreadsheet, because there's a little image on here that kind of tells the story that you're talking about right now. This this image actually shows folders from all around the world. It just shows where folding participants are active around the world, and the cloud participation will probably reflect that sort of global participation.
I just pulled up a list here just so we can go over a couple of to show just how widespread it is. Which I find pretty fascinating to know that there is fairly global interest in this cloud folding system that I have put together. See, my last customer is from India.
Wow.
After that, Spain, Italy, Morocco,
Wow.
United States, Ukraine, Switzerland, Turkey, United Kingdom, Russia, another one from Ukraine, another one from Russia.
And so what would you say was the
Another from
common level of
Russia.
experience from the people who are actually buying the cloud folding service? Would you say that they're experienced folders, or that they're really noobs who don't really
That's
feel
actually
like
kind of a mix there too.
Yeah.
I do look up their usernames on Folding at Home, also so I can monitor the progress to make sure that they are getting the points that they have paid for. And it's interesting to see, like, some customers will come to the cloud folding site that you can tell they fired up a laptop or something, tried a couple of NaCl units, and they'll only have, say, 1,500 points, and they'll be at rank 500,000, or a very low global rank on the Folding at Home project, and they'll come along and rent something like the Twin 980 GTX setup, and that'll shoot them far up in the ranks. And at that point, they're earning, depending on which setup they get, anywhere from 1.4 million points per day to 650,000 points per day, compared to the, chugging along at 150 points per NaCl unit that they're doing on their home equipment. But there are some other customers that have already achieved status of total points ranking in the 100 million area of points that have also purchased cloud folding.
Just purely from the CureCoin cloud folding service.
Yep.
Yeah, wow, that's impressive.
Well, they didn't purchase all of those points. Like, some of them, when I look them up, when I'm firing up the service for them, I'll see that they already have over 100 million points, which that puts you around rank 700 or 800, maybe around 900. But yeah, so some of those folders are definitely very veteran folders, and know their way around the folding system, but they still wanted to get a boost in their points per day or their CureCoin earnings. Plain and simple, get more research done. I had one customer recently. It was we talked back and forth a little bit, and he was mainly interested in just the research end of it. He tried the NaCl unit, and he asked me, he said, well, the NaCl units seem pretty small. And I'm like, well, yes, that's the NaCl units are, it's a dip your toes in it kit. The NaCl units, as you can see, they start at only $1 to try out NaCl units. And if you pay in CureCoins, that's only 50 cents. That's very cheap to rent some decently high-powered CPU time. And
right, one of the things to underscore is that if you do actually purchase CureCoins on the exchanges and you use them to buy more folding power, you get quite a significant discount in the cloud folding service.
Yep, it's a 50% discount if you are paying in CureCoins, and that automatically happens during the checkout process through coinpayments.net. When you get to the coinpayments.net checkout part, it will automatically, it'll let you choose which crypto coin you want to pay with, and if you choose CureCoin, it'll automatically figure in a 50% discount.
And I've also noticed that you've added some game keys here that you can also purchase through coinpayments.net through the cloud folding site as well. So hopefully that product line will sort of develop out of this going forward.
Yep, I have more game keys to add to it. I just wanted to get a couple on there so people knew that they would be there and be available coming or going forward. Those are also, they're already priced under what you'll pay for those games on Steam, and the 50% discount if you pay in CureCoins still applies to the games as well. So you can end up getting the Steam games for a very good discount if you pay in CureCoins.
Sweet. All right, are there any other questions out there?
I wanted to quickly address how we got the numbers on the spreadsheet for AWS. So what kind of pricing schedule did we look at? Because there are two pricing schedules for AWS. There's spot pricing, which is where you can bid and get outbid, and then there's also the standard upfront, you pay a fee and you get guaranteed server resources. And there's multiple ways to pay for those guaranteed resources. You can pay hourly, which is called on demand. You can also do a partial upfront, you can do an all upfront, and then you can do which is a 1 year paid in advance, and then you can do a 3 year paid in advance, as I've been showing up here. They have monthly costs, and then they'll break it down into the effective hourly cost you're paying. So if you knew you wanted a server for a year or a 3 year or whatever term, you'd pay for that instead of doing on-demand hourly because it'd be cheaper in the long run. And so for our calculator, we used 1 year all upfront costs. So we're assuming you're paying for an entire year of folding all upfront. If you were to do this on demand and you were to buy the instances by the hour, that price would actually be higher.
And you can get those at aws.amazon.com/EC2. I'm going to post that link in the video description so anybody can go and check their spot price or their dedicated instance price at any point. I believe these were taken back from December, so I haven't refreshed that page for a while, but I'm sure it hasn't changed by much. All right, guys. I think that pretty much covers all the Q&A. I appreciate you joining me, and I'll get this video posted so everybody could see just what we're all up to at CureCoin. Thanks for joining, guys.